Today is Monday, August the 5th, and what can you say? We've had 3 days now since the president, in his wisdom, tweeted something stupid on Thursday, and we've just had our biggest down day of the year with a little tiny bit of a rally at the bottom, and it was all technically driven. There was no reason to be buying. Although we might see a little bit of a reversal tomorrow, because these kind of huge drops are usually accompanied by a little bit of a bounce. Some people call it a dead cat bounce, but you got to wait for confirmation. The decliners led advancers by a factor of 6 to 1. So, and it's huge volume. Look at the volume in the Dow, more than relative volume. NASDAQ was at relative volume. S&P was at relative volume. You've got 3, 4.5 stocks in the S&P 500 that were green. So what does that mean for our breadth, which was approaching this oversold line? Is it's going to come down to its previous low, and it can go even lower, as you know. So let's see what happens. Possibly a little bit of a bounce tomorrow, and possibly a resumption of the down movement on Wednesday. Some people will be selling into the bounce tomorrow. Let's look at some amazing features of the cloud and the Ichimoku. Let's look at the S&P 500. When price hit the 200, it actually went lower, but it did get support there for a while, because the 200 was also the same price level where the Chiku span hit the bottom of the cloud. So today, the Chiku span at the bottom of the cloud saved the day. It had gotten as low as this level here, but it came back to finish in an important area above the cloud, even though price finished below the cloud and above the 200. That's why I'm saying that tomorrow there could be a little bit of a bounce. It may not last past 11 o'clock in the morning, but you should be at your desk by 9:30 and taking a look. Apple had some other amazing things happen. This green line shows the low of Apple today, and that was exactly where the Chiku span would have hit the bottom of its cloud 26 days ago. So now we've got two stocks where the Chiku span played an important role in looking for support, but so did the flat cloud, and we ended up with price briefly above the flat cloud for Apple. But there is still an opportunity to go down. Very little support here. As the cloud gets thinner and thinner, very little support. There is a good possibility that we fall through. Let's look at the last time that the stock went through a yellow cloud. The last time we had a yellow cloud stock and a flat red cloud, we had some bouncing off the cloud, but we did end up going and down and testing the 200. Same thing here, very little bit of red, but we came down. We didn't touch the cloud, so that's not quite the same. We didn't touch the cloud here either, or here, or there. So those are, well, this came close, but the 200 was support. So the key thing here now is to look at where the 200 has been support for many, many occasions. Let's go back here and let's look at a weekly chart. Let's get rid of this. And let's find the number of times that the S&P 5, that Apple found support on the 200. Even though this is a weekly chart, I've got the EMA 200 and the SMA 200 calculated on a one-day basis. That's what you can do with Motive Wave. So we could say we're approaching, well, there's 200 support. We missed it here. We did get support here and here. Here we clearly failed, but that was at the end of the year when the stock market was going to hell in a handbasket. And of course, we're seeing that again. We got 200 support here, several days here. Here it was resistance. Here it was resistance. Support, support, support and resistance. So the 200, support, 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 fell through, moved on up past, played around the 200, but eventually the 200 was enough to pull it back, 200 support. So you can go back even further than 2005 and see all the times when the 200 acted as support for Apple or resistance. So it's a very, very critical component. Watch for support on the 200. If we don't get that, let's take a look at the Chiku span on a weekly basis, the Ichimoku on a weekly basis. If we fall below the 200, we have 187.89, which would be the cloud support. Now today, we said that the Chiku span was getting support on the daily cloud. Just below that is the 200 SMA. So the 200 SMA, let's just do a green line here on the 200 EMA. If price comes down to the 200 EMA right there, that is going to mean that the Chiku span will be down at the 200 SMA. So there's double support. So I'm calling for Apple support at 191.41. Very important level, 191.41, if we're going lower tomorrow. Caterpillar, the only thing you can say about it is that if you drew a trend line between these three candles, you got support today on that trend line. But otherwise, it's looking very ugly. The 50 EMA is now starting to turn down. The 200 EMA is starting to turn down. Nothing short of a trade deal or news of better trade with China and Europe, or an infrastructure deal with the Democrats is going to help Caterpillar. So feel free to sell calls if you're holding the stock, because it's not coming back, I don't think, anytime soon. GDX pulled off of its high. So if it's green tomorrow at the open, it's an opportunity to buy. This bull flag has been breached, just like this one. We channeled along before making a big pull. We could channel along here before popping up, but GDX might be a good defensive thing to be holding for you here. Whirlpool got support basically on the 200, but look at the Chiku span. Chiku span gets support at the bottom of the cloud. How many stocks have we seen now today where the Chiku span was working with cloud support? WDC, another stock that's definitely heading down to the 200. So we aren't holding that one. We don't want to be. Low volume for both of those days. That's encouraging. Whirlpool, low volume today. So even though we had a lot of trading volume overall, Whirlpool had low trading volume. Apple, very high trading volume for the last 4 days. So all of these 4 pullbacks were all accompanied by heavy selling, although we do expect a bounce off the cloud tomorrow. So I'm calling for a little bit of a rally in the morning, but it may not hold past 11 o'clock.